All right, so we're just going to go straight into it. I'm going to use both the MetaTrader platform as well as the Trading View platform. So let me start with Trading View. I'll start with Trading View. I'm going to share my screen. Excuse me. Trying to get my Trading View up, so bear with me. Okay, so here we are. Let me share the screen. I hope you can see my screen. If you can see my screen, type S. If you can see my screen, type S. Please do that quickly. Good. Mr. Nureni, the great farmer. How are we doing? How is it Shaki? How is Shaki today? Please unmute yourself. I want to hear your voice. It's been a while. Mr. Nureni, unmute yourself. Oh. Can you hear me? Mr. Nureni, unmute yourself. Oh. I want to hear your voice. It's been like 50 years since I last saw you. You don't reach 50 years. Good evening. It's been 50 years I heard your voice last. How are you? You are making too much money now. How is my cow? How is my cow doing? No wala. Alright, no stress. Let's continue the class. You can meet yourself now. Thank you. Okay, so let's get to it. Now, where do I start this? Let me start with yes. Good evening. How are you? Mr. Lawani. Yeah, thank you very much. I know I look good. I always look good. Alright. Welcome to class. You came a little late though, but it's okay. We've not started anything yet. Okay, so let's all meet ourselves now and get started. We have I have a chart in front of me, Trading View chart, and as you can see, we talked about support and resistance. And one of the beautiful things about support and resistance is that it's not a point, okay? I know most of the time when you see it on the chart, it's just one line like this that they will draw and tell you this is the resistance zone, and maybe this, and this is the support zone, or however they want to put it for you. Yes, we are used to using lines for support and resistance to make it easy for people to understand. However, the support and resistance area is not a line, it's not a point, it is a zone. Okay, it is a zone, it's an area. So it's not usually just one point, it could be bigger. Now, most of the time we try to cover the entire section that it touches, not necessarily everything, but we try to cover the entire section. Like for instance, now if I was going to draw a support in this place, I would want to cover both the wicks and the body, so that every area that touches that zone is covered and accounted for. And that's the reason why most of the time we use a rectangular box like this to mark support and resistance. Now, you see, support and resistance is based on price action. Price action simply means what is happening on your chart, what the price is doing, what the candles are doing. That's what price action means. So this is a price action. This candle right here is a price action. This one is a price action. This red one at the top here is a price action. So each of these points is called price action. That is at the point where activities are going on. Price is performing an action, either going up or coming down. Now I'm going to remove all this for a moment because that's not where I'm going to. I just wanted to point out those areas. Now you notice that when price is in an uptrend, remember we have three types of trend. Either an uptrend, as in the case of this, or a downtrend, as in the case of, this, or a range, as in the case of, let me see if I can find a range quickly. Okay. Yeah, even this range is not very clear. Okay. Or a range, as in the case of this place. Let me use a rectangle for that. As in the case of this area, which is a range. So, either one of these that we decide to go for, we have three types of trend. We have an uptrend, like we had at the top here, that I marked out here. We have a downtrend, as in the case of this place, and we have a range. Now, either way, every trend is marked by a zigzag movement going up and down. Okay, it's marked by a zigzag movement going up or down. Now, if we have that, if we know that every movement is marked by up and down, then it means that it is telling us something, or it's giving us a message, even when price is going in one direction. Let me move from gold. I could use gold too, but I want to change it. Let me find one of the most consistent pairs, Euro USD, and work with that. I've not touched Euro USD in a while, so there shouldn't be too much to remove or to add on the chart. Okay, I think this is better. So either one, there is always movement in between. Now, one thing you should always remember is that the momentum that the market is using, something is fueling it. Are we together? I hope you can hear me. If you can still hear me and there are no errors and there are no distractions, raise up your hand. If you can still hear me, just raise a hand. Beautiful. Okay, I think everybody can still hear me. Okay, so the momentum at which the market is moving, something is fueling it. Okay, that thing that is fueling it is what we want to deal with today. Now, each movement is sponsored by a price action in a zone, a price action in a sort of a zone. I'm trying to not make it technical or complex. I don't want to use complex or technical terms. I want to make it as basic. You know my training now. I always try to make it as simple as possible. Now let's look at this movement up now. This is an uptrend. This section is an uptrend here. From this point where the market starts to this point, at least as far as we can see here, there's something about it. We know that is an uptrend. However, it doesn't just go boom up like that. Every time it goes up, it pushes back down before it goes up again. It's like Yoruba say, "Agbo to fe yirin, agbára ló lọ mú wá." I don't know, there's a lot of people here who don't understand Yoruba. It means that, I don't know whether you've noticed during Salah period, when they want to do this Ileya celebration, and they have rams, and those rams are sometimes they will bring two of them to fight each other, so they lock horns. They call it they fight. Let me put it that way. They lock horns. When those rams are locking horns, you remember that the moment they hit their heads together like this, the next thing they will do is what? They will move back a little. They will walk away from each other, give each other some distance, and then come again. Now, if you realize that the ram that goes farther the most will come back with more force than the one that didn't go very far. So if you just move back 2 steps and the other one went back like 10 steps, by the time they are running to meet each other, the one that went further back will come with a lot of force compared to the other one. Now, that is what the market does sometimes. It usually pulls back to gather momentum with which to push the market in the direction that it's already going sometimes. Now, that pullback is a very, very valuable point in your trading section. And that is what we see in this uptrend. Let me see if I can mark them out in this uptrend. You see that the market took off from here as the end of a trend and the beginning of a new one, because this trend line from this point got broken. So if I was trading this market now and I was selling, Taufik Yusuf, you're late. So if I was trading, let me remove this moving average too. It's probably giving issues. Okay. Now, if I was trading this market down and I was selling, remember, if the moving average was there, I'll be selling at every pullback to the moving average and I'll be coming down like that. Now the moment, and if I was to use this trend line to also sell the market, I'll be selling every time the market pulls back to the trend line. So I will sell at this spot, I'll sell at that point, I'll sell at this point, I'll sell at this point, I'll sell at this point. I probably will sell at this point, to which would will fail anyway and hit stop loss. But these other ones will be in good profit. I will take profit of all these ones. However, if you realize that when it gets to this point, it broke this trend line completely. Initially it broke it, retested. Let me zoom in a little if it will help us to see clearly. Okay. So you see how it broke the trend line, came back and created a doji or a pin bar at that point. This pin bar is a strong indication that the market will go up. So if I was looking at this chart, I most likely will not sell at this point. Okay, I most likely will not sell at this point. However, it came back on below the trend line, but still went back up to close around the trend line. So we'll be watching the market at this point, and then it broke above it. Once it broke above it, I knew this trend line is no longer valid. It's been broken, it's been defeated. The next thing is I will be waiting for a retrace. A retest rather of the trend line. Something to bring the price back to this trend line, and then it can take off from there. So we had the retest at this point, which is a very good and clean retest. In fact, twice. It retested twice, was still forming lower lows. So we might not enter the market at this point. I will still not enter at this point because it's still forming lower lows. The market might decide to come back under the trend line and continue down. But the moment it started forming a higher low here, I know the market is changing direction, and there is need for me to begin to look for an opportunity to go up. And what does it do? It gave me a head and shoulder, and the moment it formed a head and shoulder, it gave me a change of character here, and off we go. It started going up. So now notice that every time the market comes heavily down, there is always a struggle back in the opposite direction. This is one here. Let me remove all these zones. I think I'm done explaining with them. Now this is one here. This market made it down like this, and then it gave us this zone, this entire area here, to prepare us for the next down movement. And after that, it came down again and gave us a new one again. This is a new zone preparing us for the next move down. So what are we looking for? We are looking for the next time that price will go down again. And it came down in just one long candle. And after that, he created a new one again. All these are called the supply zones. Okay, that is where supply and demand comes in. All these are called the supply zones. Now, after that, he came down again, gave us a couple of candles down. Think about, let me see. And after that, he created a new high again. From this point till about this point. Now, have you noticed something? You realize that every time he does the down movement, excuse me, and he wants to go back up, it's either always hitting the beginning of this one, it's either always hitting either the beginning or the middle or the top. These three zones, these three areas here, this point, and this point, are the most important points in your trading point. Now, if you are taking a trade, you are taking a sell. We know we are in a sell market, and the market is, say, somewhere around here. I will be waiting for a pullback because we have a change of character. Market has changed from an uptrend in this area. You notice that from here to here, from this point to this point is an uptrend. Have you noticed that? That's one uptrend, even though it's a small one, but it's an uptrend. I'll be waiting for the market to break that uptrend and create a lower low, lower than the previous highs that I have, previous lows that I've seen. This is one low here. This is one low here. So I'm waiting for what will break it. And this broke it clearly, broke the two of them clearly. So now we know that the market is about to start coming down. So what am I looking for next? I am waiting for the market to retest this zone that he used last. This very zone here. I'm waiting for the market to reuse it. Now the market will either go and test the beginning of it, the middle of it, or the end of it. And that's why if you check our signals, I always post price range from, say, 1.0795 to 1.0733 or something, or 1.833. And I will tell you to how do I call it for you? Layer in the zone. What I usually do is I will take a couple of positions here. This is my first movement. I will put additional position if price gets to this point, and I will put additional position if price gets to this point. Sometimes I will just set a pending order here and set a pending order here, and my stop loss will be just above here. Are we together now? Not on this last candle. I'll put it a couple of pips above here. Now the idea is price will always pull back to the zone. Don't worry, we're going to test that idea very soon now. Price will always pull back to the previous zone that it broke. This is the beginning of that zone. This is the middle of the zone, and this is the end of that zone. If price pulls back, sometimes it will get to the beginning and fail immediately. So let me remove this guy here and see what price did. Can you see that? See these candles. This one did it first, and this was the second one to do it. They both took out the beginning of this zone, and after that, price started falling down. So which means that my first trade here would have triggered, the second one will not trigger, the third one will not trigger. And the moment this is triggered and is running, I would create a new zone there. I would pick a new zone, which is this point, from here to here, and I would wait for price to either come to the beginning of it, the middle, the middle, 50% of it, or 100% of it, that is the end of it. Those 3 points again. Remember, we have finished this one. We've resolved this one. So this zone is mitigated already. I don't need it anymore. So I'll just remove whatever I have put there to mark that point. I don't need them anymore. This is where my focus will be now. This trend line, this small trend line here is now useless. I don't need that anymore too. So this is where my next focus will be. I am now waiting for price to pull back into that zone. Okay? So I'm waiting for price to pull back into this zone after coming down like this. However, I have a little problem with this zone because there was a little one created at this point too. There was a little one created at this point in the middle of this movement. And that is the reason why I would have issues with this one. So instead of focusing on this now, I am going to focus on this little one that was created here next. So I'm going to focus on this little one that was created here, which is the new zone that I am expecting price to react to. Now let's check what happens after price moved down. So it came down and finally started coming back. I would put, because of this candle, I will put a pending order in the beginning here and a pending order at the end of it here. Then my stop loss will be just above the last high, which is this place. My stop loss will be just above here. Let me change that to red because it's stop loss. Style, color, red. Okay, so my stop loss will be just above here and I'll wait for price. Now let's see what price did with that. Did you see that? He pulled back to it, and these two candles, or three candles rather, this one triggered the first entry, this one went and triggered the second entry at the end of this place, triggered the second entry, but it didn't get to the stop loss and then started falling again. And after that pullback, the next zone will be here, this last one here. So it would have been the entire zone anyway. So I could choose the entire zone, or I could refine it. And this is what we call refining. I could refine it to just the last one. Now, when you have a very large zone, especially on a large time frame like this, you should look for an entry on a refined zone. So when we say something is a refined zone, take a look at this. Let me remove this one so that you can see where I'm pointing to. Now, you see this place. You see all of this area. All of this area is a supply zone. Okay, these are all supply zones that force the price to come down. Now, because I cannot use the entire zone, it's just too large. This is giving me close to 75, about 50 pips or 52 pips. It's just too large. I can't use the entire zone, the entire area as my zone. Instead of that, I will refine it down. And how do I refine it down? I take the whole of this area as one single chart movement. I assume this is an uptrend. So I'm going to take the last move up, which is this, from this place to this place. That's the last move that went up before price finally started coming down again. I hope you can see that. I hope you are following me up to this point. Please, is everybody following? I hope I'm not leaving anyone behind. If you have a question or if I'm leaving you behind, type no. If you are following and it's clear to you so far, type yes. Don't unmute yourself, just type yes or no. No for those who are not following or they are left behind, and yes for those who are following. Quickly. Okay, I have a yes, I have a yes, I have a no. Imati. Oh, I'm fast. Okay. Okay. Okay, let me slow it down. Now, I said when we have price moving in a direction like this, the first thing I want to do when I get on the chart is to establish the direction of the chart. Do I have an uptrend or a downtrend? That's the first thing. The moment I understand that I have a downtrend, then I know I am looking for opportunities to sell. So let's go back to the beginning of that trend. Okay, here's the beginning of the trend. Okay, so here's the beginning of this trend. And I know it's a downtrend because when I take a trend line and draw it from the top to as far as I can see, let's assume this is the only area that I have seen so far, I can see that my price always comes back to touch that trend line and continue down. And the trend line is slanting downwards, not upwards. If the trend line was slanting upwards, I would say it's an uptrend. But because the trend line is slanting downwards, or let me even extend it further. Let's assume the trend still goes as far as here, which is still fine. So the trend line is slanting downwards as I am going down the market. So I know that I'm in a sell market now. The market is going down. Sorry, please. Okay, sorry guys, give me a moment please. Let me quickly complete the transaction on Binance. Please stay on, just give me a moment. It will just take a minute. So let's just focus for today on the fact that this is a sell market, not a buy market. So we're looking for where to sell now. Having established that, what are we waiting for? We want to see price pull back to the trend lines and continue. Now normally I would draw the trend line out all the way down. I will draw the trend line out so that you can see all of it. Now while we have the market going down, it's not just going all the way down the way this line is going down straight. It keeps going up and down. It makes a zigzag movement. Okay, sorry, it keeps making a zigzag movement without it keeps going up and down. It goes up, comes down, goes up again, comes down, goes up, comes down. Even when it's in an uptrend, it keeps going up and down. And when it's in a downtrend too, it keeps going down, go up a little, will go down again, go up, go down, go up, go down. So that's how the market behaves. It doesn't just go in one direction like that. Now, having established that, we can now accurately predict where the market is going by simply looking at what the market has been doing so far, knowing fully well that the market will always go up and down. So we either wait for when it goes down and then follow it up if we are in a buy market, or when it goes up and then follow it down when we are in a sell market. So that's what we are trying to establish today now. I hope you understand that. So let's get to it. Now, this area from here to here, the market went down, which is where it should go. But immediately after going down, it went in the opposite direction a bit, again for a bit in this area. And then after that, it came down again, which is the right thing to do. And then created another up again. It went up again. In fact, it even went a little higher than it did before. These areas where the market is going back up are opportunities for the trader, which is you, to get into the market for a sell and make maximum profit. So if I enter when the market pulled up here, I will sell down like this. Market pulled up again, I enter a sell again and sell down to this point. Market pulled up again to the trend line, it doesn't break it, rejected. I will sell again from that point down. So every time the market pulls up, I can sell down, and I am making additional money by entering more positions that way. However, how do I now take that position? How do I know when to enter and when not to enter? That is where the zones come in. Now, these zones are meant, remember the law of supply and demand. It's what determines the price of an object or an item. When the item is scarce, there is not enough supply, and the demand is high, people want that product, but it's not enough in the market, what will happen to the price? The price will naturally go up. That's normal. That is why during, I think there's usually a season when Gari is not very plenty, and within that period, the price of Gari can skyrocket. I remember there was a lady that built a business around that. Food items that are scarce at a period When it is plenty, she will buy plenty and store it. She even collected people's money and used it to store. I don't know how many of you knew that lady in Edo State. She will collect people's money and say she is storing those foodstuff when it is plenty. And when it becomes scarce, like all foodstuff does do it. Maybe except rice and maybe beans anyway. But gari, corn, palm oil, what else? I don't know. Most staple foodstuffs in Nigeria do it. So at the point they will be scarce, and when they are scarce, the price will naturally go up. People would want to buy by all means, and because of that, those who are selling will increase the price. They will add money to it just so they can make more money. And then when the time comes for harvest, and harvest is here, like yam for instance, harvest is here like it is now, new yam is out, and more people are bringing their yam into the market so that they can sell off before the other people. People will start reducing their price small. So when your neighbor is selling a tuber of yam for 300 naira, you want to sell faster than your neighbor, you reduce your own to 285 naira, remove 15 naira for it. And because of 15 naira, some people will walk 3 kilometers just to come and buy from you because you remove 15 naira from your own. And before you know what's up, you've cleared your farm, and then they can begin to consider your neighbor's own. And if by the time you are clearing your own, another person came before your own finished and said, you are selling 285, okay, my own is 270 naira or 275. Some people will still abandon you who bought from you last week and go and buy from the one that just came now, because the price is dropping as the supply is increasing. So when supply comes in, then price drops. You see those small points when price is doing the opposite of the general trend. That is what we call the supply zone. The point where there is a supply in trade activity. There are a lot of people who don't really understand the chart. Let me really explain to you what happens here. There are a lot of people who don't really understand the chart, and they are entering the market at this point with a buy trade. So they buy, say they buy around here. When they see the market is turning around and has formed a new, it has finished going down and it's going up, so they'll be like, uptrend has started again. You know, it was like an uptrend before, so let's buy here. And they buy at this point, excuse me, so they buy at this point and put their TP maybe 40 or 50 pips at the top there. So maybe their TP is somewhere around here. Let me change this trend line. So maybe their TP is somewhere around here, and they bought at this point, and they are expecting price to go up. Then they are not the only one. A lot of people will do the same thing, will make the same mistake and be buying. Price will pull back a little. They will say, okay, enter more position, and they buy the more. The more people are buying, the more price is going up. But remember, the general trend has been identified as a downtrend, or it's about to change into a downtrend. They don't know that yet. And then those who understand the charts will come in and force the price down. And that's why you realize that the down momentum is usually heavier than the up momentum. See how many candles it took the price to go. Let me zoom in. Excuse me. See how many candles it took the price to go from this point to this point. Let's count how many up candles we have there. This is the first candle that came down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It took 8 candles, which is approximately 16 hours, for price to go from this point to this point. However, let's look at what happens when the price was to go in opposite direction. For price to come from this point to this point, how many candles did it take? Even longer than where it started from. 1, 2, 3. Just 3 candles. So you can realize that the momentum down is usually heavier than the momentum up. Once we begin to establish that, you know that price is changing direction. Price action is no longer going up. It's time to come down. When you start to see long candles coming down, like all this, you look at this. Most of the time we look at this and we say, this is an engulfing pattern. When you see an engulfing pattern like this, it doesn't matter what happens after that. Price is about to change direction. Just begin to watch for an opportunity for price to change direction. But because we are still in a range, you might not be able to enter the market around here. So you will patiently wait until it breaks that zone, or breaks that character completely, changes character, which is this point. The moment it changes character from this point down, then we can now start trading it. And where did that happen? It happened somewhere around here. Okay, let me pull it longer. You see, so this is where the downtrend is finally established. For me, if I was trading, this is when I would start trading, because this is when it finally broke the character that I've been waiting for. Even though there are several break of character somewhere around here, but it didn't really take out the last low up here. So I'm waiting for the one that will take out the last low here before I can enter the trade. So usually I will wait, but most of the time some people will start trading down from here, and which it makes some sense because there's been a change of character here, there's a change of character here, and that's happened here. So we can now start trading down for those who want to jump into the market faster. But I would rather wait until we have a change of character, a clear change of character, before I can start trading. Now, change of character is when price change. I know I've mentioned break of structure, I've mentioned change of character a couple of times, and it might be a little bit confusing. Let me try to clarify that. A break of structure is when price breaks structure in the same direction. Let me see, do we have an uptrend here? Let me come to this downtrend. Okay, when price breaks structure in the same direction, break structure means that it formed a low or a high higher than the previous high, or a low lower than the previous low. From here to here is a low, so it formed a low at this point, and then it pulled back a little, and then it formed a new low at this point, which broke the structure that it has been forming at this area here. So this is what we call a break of structure. Price broke the previous low and started continuing down. That's a break of structure. But when price is already going in a direction and turns around and starts going in the opposite direction, it becomes a change of character. Let me go to the end of this downtrend. I think it will make it easier to explain. Okay, now all of these points up to this place had been downtrend, remember? And the last high for this downtrend was here. This is the last low for the downtrend. The next low after that is higher. Can you see? The next low is a higher low. This is, oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Can you see my screen? If you can see my screen, please raise your hand. Okay, Emma can see. Okay, you can see my screen. So how come I am not seeing it myself? Ah, interesting. Okay, so if you can see the screen, then I can continue. I mean the chat too. You can see the chat. Raise up your hand, please. Okay, good. So I can continue then. I thought, because me, I can't see it on my mobile, so I thought it wasn't showing. Alright, so now you will notice that the price kept forming a lower low. This is 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 a lower low. And these are all break of structures. Remember, break of structure is when price breaks the already existing structure, which is a downtrend. The structure is downtrend. If it breaks the previous low, it means that it has broken a low, it has broken a structure to the downside, and it keeps breaking structure. This is a break of structure and a low. This is another break of structure and a low, which turned out to be the last one. After this, it didn't create any new break of structure down again. What does it do? It starts forming new lows that are higher. Okay, it forms a new low that is higher. However, this low is not enough for me to say, okay, the price or market is changing direction to an uptrend, because it could form this low and then crash this one down lower to maybe somewhere around here again. So because I know that could happen, I want to wait until price does what we call a change of character. It changes character. So when you hear change of character, it means a change of trend from a downtrend to an uptrend. Usually at the end of a downtrend or at the end of a trend, at the end of a directional trend, downtrend or uptrend, there will usually be a small range. And that's what we have in this middle between here and here. A little range within that period, up, down, up, down, up, down, until it finally broke out. So because of that range, I will be waiting for price to get out of this range, either to break above or to break out below and continue down. So having said that, I would wait for price to do one thing. So if it breaks above, it will be forming what I call the change of character. Change of character means we've been having lower highs all the while to now form a higher high that is higher than the previous high that we've been having in the downtrend. That is when a change of character has occurred, and that occurred somewhere around this point. Now, if that change of character is preceded by long momentous candles that are very, very long and heavier than the previous downtrend that we've been having, then I will know that a new trend is about to start. And that's why you realize that the moment this trend changes, you will notice that all the way to this point, up candles have not been as heavy as this. It has usually been small candles going up. As you can see, small candle. Only once in a while do you get one long candle, and then no long up candle again. You get small ones follow. This one is a bit long, but the next one is not long. But when you get 1, 2 long candles follow each other, and price doesn't form a lower low after that, I'll be waiting for a change of character. It didn't occur here. It formed lower low again, and then after that we began to get long candles up again. 1, 2 long candles followed by 1, 2, 3 long candles again. So I know that the downtrend is over. I am waiting for a change of direction. Now we're going up. I just want a clear movement to the upside before I start trading, and that's why we have to be very careful so that you don't get into markets that will put you in trouble. And at the same time, you can reduce the distance between your entry and your stop loss, so that if you finally hit your stop loss, you will not lose too much money. Okay, so having said that, we have so we have the first change of character here, but I am not very satisfied with this change of character because it didn't really break clearly above it. It broke it, but the price just kept playing at the top of it. However, what I am looking for is the moment that character is broken, I am waiting for a retest of the zones, the supply zones that trigger that price action, or rather the demand zone. Rather, these are supply zones. They were supplying price for the price to keep supplying action for the price to keep coming down. But at this point, it becomes a demand zone because this is the zone that is demanding for price to go higher. Demanding for price now, that is not enough. We are demanding for euro, is not enough anymore. Dollar is now plentier than euro, so people will start buying now because we now have a lot of it in the market. So the demand is beginning to increase. So as demand is increasing, price will start going up too. Now all these demand zones that are coming down like this are what is triggering the price to move this quickly up. So you want to pay attention to the last set of demand zones. So I will map out after this break of character. Remember, after this break of character, the last set of movement that gave that long push would be the last down candle. Okay, sorry, that's even an up candle. Let me delete that. That's an up candle. This is the last down candle. So the last down candle here, I would map it out. That's one. I will also map out the last down candle here too, which is the most significant of them. I will map that out too. So if I am trading this market, I am looking for, let me remove these ones. I am looking for price to come back and play at this zone when it comes back. This zone and this zone. So remember, it could either be the beginning, the top of it, the middle, or down. This zone is really, really large. I don't like how big it is, so I would refine it. Remember, this is the entire zone anyway. From up here down to this place is the entire zone, but it's already too large and it's been refined down to this based on this time zone. So normally I would drop down to a lower time zone, but we are not going into entry today. We are just looking at what are we looking for. What does supply and demand mean in the market? How do you trade with supply and demand? So now we know that we are looking at this zone for price action, and we're also looking at this zone for price action. These two guys are what we need to determine what the price will do next. These two guys. So we'll be looking for opportunities to buy within this area, and you will notice that this one was mitigated multiple times, 1, 2, 3 times, but this was never mitigated. It just triggered the one at the entry twice, first, second, and that's it. It took off from that point. It never came back to this point again, and it won't. No matter how long you wait for it, it's not coming back here again, because this trend is over. It already broke structure here. So like I said, I wasn't very satisfied with this break of structure. I want a second break of structure, which is my confirmation, and that happened at this point. See the length of those candles, 5 good candles up. That tells me that we are done with this downtrend. We are completely done with this downtrend. It's time to start going up. So we start looking for where to enter. Remember, every time it breaks a character like this, you want to pick the last set of zone that triggered it. And like I said, this is the zone for this one. That movement, this is the zone. I hope this is clear. This zone I just drew last now, you know why I drew it, right? This last zone I selected, you know why I selected that? Am I right? Please talk to me, oh. If you don't know, okay, good. Let me try and reduce this transparency a little, so that we can see through it, so we can see the candles at the back. So this entire zone is why this movement was this fast. Now, which candle we now want to trade with? Remember, it could either be the beginning of it. Always put that in mind. Where is my extended horizontal line? It could either be the beginning of it, that is this point, the middle, which is 50% of it, or the end of it. So my entries are usually here, here, and here. But that's because I have a large account. So for those of you who have a small account, what you have to do is to drop to lower time frame and pick a better entry. That better entry will put you at somewhere around, that better entry that you pick a smaller time frame will put you at somewhere around here. I am very, very sure of it, that you will not be more than this place. If we want to confirm that, let's go lower. Let me find 15 minutes first. Okay. I'm trying to find my chart, so now so you don't go back, Rich. Wow. Let me go to 30 minutes. Maybe I'll be able to see it easily there. This is interesting. Guys, let me switch to MetaTrader, I beg. Okay, this is what I was looking for. Do you remember this was where we were? And I said it's either at the top, the middle, or the end of it. So call me Benjamin. Welcome to class. 5 years after we started. We're almost done. So remember this. I just wanted to chip in this. This is not where I was going to, but I just wanted to show you how to refine your chart down to the last time frame. So that you can easily see where your charts, where the activities are. Now, I have not even gotten to smaller time frame. This was just 30 minutes, from 2 hours to 30 minutes. Normally, I'll be going to about 5 minutes to confirm this. But already on 30 minutes, it is clear. Look at the chart here. Remember where we saw our change of character was here. Our change of character, we saw it here. Remember that? So we changed character at this point. And I said we'll be looking for the last red candle down that gave us this push up. And I told you if you look for it, you will find it here. But normally we saw it in this big space. Remember? We saw it in this big space before. I said if you go to a smaller time frame, you will find it somewhere in the middle here. And this is it here. This is what the market finally came to react to. And this zone here completely captured it. Let me remove this bigger one because this time frame is really big. So this small zone here completely captured it in this small doji that you can see here. Can you see it? This small red doji here. Now let's see how market reacted to that in the future. Do you see that? Market simply came back, tapped into it, and took off. After that, it never came to it again. This is how to enter a trade that will not hit stop loss. It will take a lot of patience. Now imagine how long we had to wait for it. Count the number of candles from here. That's like, okay, this is 10, so it's going to be like about 40 candles. It could take days. This was on Thursday, 8th of June was when we established, okay, sorry, on Thursday, 8th of June was when we established where the last zone was. I mean, where the last supply zone was, and we're expecting price to come back to it in the future. Let's see when price finally came and triggered our entry. Price finally triggered our entry at Monday, June 12th. 4 days later was when our entry was triggered. But once it triggers, it starts going up. If I was going to take profit, I would have taken close to, what do I have here? I have 7349 to 78. Imagine that. I would have taken 50 pips in this place alone. So this has already hit my TP1. Of course, it hit TP1 because this is where TP1 will be, up here. So it already triggered TP1, and TP2 would be high above 2. It triggered TP2 as well, and would even go further than that. That's TP3 up there, over 120 pips. And look at that, it keeps going. This was over 300 pips at the end of the day. So when you know how to find your movement in the market, a change of trend direction is the sweetest to trade in the market if you know how to find it. But it's not easy. This is another one that is just starting now. And before you know what's up, once it's established, is to begin to write it down just like this. Is to write it all the way down. So a change of trend is very sweet to trade, but you need to really know how to look for it or where to look for it. So I hope the class makes some sense to us, guys. You have a bit more understanding of what we learned in the what was it called? On ZM Capital training. So you understand the zones, the trend, I mean the supply and the demand zone better now. Okay? I hope you understand it better. Please respond yes or no. Okay? Alright, that's cool. So I said I wasn't going to allow this class to go to take too much time. We've already done this for 1 hour already now. We started a little before, we started before 9:30, before 7:30, before 6:30 rather. So this is 7:30, and I'm thinking I should suspend class here. In the next class, we are going to talk about some other more concepts that we should look at when we are, trading the zones. There's something called fair value gap. Fair value gap is a very, very sweet thing to also look out for. It helps you with selecting where your stop losses should be, your take profits. It helps you with your take profit. I use fair value gaps to pick out my take profits most of the time. I just target the fair value gap once I enter a trade, and I wait for price to go and mitigate it. So it's really cool for trading counter trends. Okay, fair value gap is cool for trading counter trends. Maybe in the next this thing, we've looked at market structure today. Okay, in the next class we are going to take it a step further and look at some more concepts in smart money concepts that can help you to trade profitably. So please practice the little you have learned today. use it to trade within the week and let me know your experience. Don't do it on your live account. Do it on your demo account. If you have not registered your live account and funded it, you are missing out. Go and register and fund your live account. Okay? Go and register and fund your live account. If you want to do copy trade, maybe you don't have time and you will prefer to copy trades of experts, you can do that too. So you don't have to trade on your live account. Just fund it with at least $100 to $150. Fund your live account and then copy the trade of experts. Your account will grow gradually while you are learning. So that little that is coming on your account every week or every month should be manageable enough for you to take care of yourself, okay, while you are learning, so that Ashapa will not kill you in the course of learning Forex. You know, say you are learning how to make money and you are dying of hunger. So try and raise some money and fund your account. It's very, very important. I don't like students who are learning Forex and they don't have a live account that is making them money. I don't like it. And that's the reason why I go out of my way to make sure that no matter what, if you cannot use Signal, you should be able to do copy trade. If you cannot trade by yourself to make money, use Signal. If you are not disciplined enough to also use Signal, then use copy trading. That's another method. Okay. And I'm also working on something. I don't know when it's going to be ready. I'm working on something. I don't know when it will be ready, but it would help push your journey further, to help you push further in this journey. It's going to be massive. Don't worry. Just look out for it. It's going to be massive. Just wait for it. It's coming very, very soon. Very, very soon. I've been very, very busy working on it, but it will soon be ready. Okay, so I think that would be the end of the session for today. This is 1 hour and 2 minutes. I think that should be it. Do we have any question? Let me quickly take question. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Maybe I can take 1 or 2 questions quickly before I leave. Before I end this class. So, if you have question, please raise your hand. I know I said I was going to use MT4 too to show you this, but okay, maybe I will use MT4 MetaTrader to answer your question to make it easier, so that we can use that too. Okay, Lawani Peter, Sukomi Benjamin. I have 2 people raising hand. Oluka Odia is raising hand. 3. Any other person? I don't want question to give birth to question. You know me now. I don't always like it. So once I start taking question now, I will not call anybody again after that. Okay, so 3 people. Thank you for making it just 3. Lawani Peter, let's start with you. You can unmute yourself and ask your question quickly. Oh, okay. All right then. Okay. Sukomi Benjamin, you raised your hand and you lowered it again. Was that an error? Do you have a question? Good evening. You can go ahead and ask your question now. Okay. Congratulations, sir. It's not going to be for you. That's correct. I don't understand big grammar. Your grammar is plenty. You know, say I no do English. I no go London. I am not giving you the recording. I already said it before. Recording is meant for people after you. You are supposed to be in the class. So if you miss the class, then you miss the class. Sorry. I'm not sure I'll release the recording to your sets. I'm not sure, but I'll still think about it. Let me keep praying about it. If the Holy Spirit asks me to release it, I'll release it. Okay, so you don't have a question. You just want to beg for recording. Yeah, beggy. Let's see who else is there. Mr. Oluka Odeinde, how are you doing? My July student, and my July mentee. You can unmute yourself and ask your question now. Akpayemi, welcome to the class. How are you? It's been a while. We need to talk. Oh, I missed you. We need to talk. It have day. How is where is that your place in the US? Town Hot or what do you call it? I've forgotten the name of your area. Let's talk. Let's see how it is over there. Mr. Kayode, I thought you had a question. Mr. Lukayode Ainde, do you have a question? No questions. They are too quiet. It's like there's no question. So let's move forward. Okay, no question. So in the absence of any question, I'm officially bringing this class to a close now. I'm officially bringing this class to a close now. Yemi, please let's talk. I'm going to chat you up when you're done. When we're done with this class now. So let's chat. Let's chat and see what we can do. All right. That's it. You can simply exit the call. Just press the red button at the bottom of your screen to leave the call. Thank you so much, and see you in the next class. I think this week I'm going to start. I'm going to release the list of private call, personal one-on-one calls, so we can have at least one call a week from now on. Okay. Have an awesome evening and enjoy the rest of your week.